The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization.
Hello and welcome once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog, where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. This has been the big week of Verdict 2022, so I thought this was a good opportunity to do a post-mortem and do 10 takeaways of an election that has seen 4 states going to the BJP and 1 being swept by the Aam Aadmi Party. 10 takeaways. Takeaway 1. Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi, is a magnet and messenger-in-chief of the BJP. What do I mean? My sense is that there was anti-incumbency on the ground, even in Uttar Pradesh, where issues of governance were often raised by people, berozgari, about avara pashu or stray cattle. These were all real issues on the ground. But there was the Modi factor. The fact that the Prime Minister is able to build an emotional connect with voters is, to my mind, critical in enabling BJP to convert anti-incumbency at times to pro-incumbency. In Goa, for example, also, there was anger, endemic corruption on the ground. There was question marks over COVID management. In Manipur, per capita incomes have not risen. In Uttarakhand, 3 chief ministers changed, or 3 chief ministers in a year for the BJP, yet the party wins because at the end of the day, Modi to hai. And that, to my mind, does make a key difference. He's seen almost larger than life as an ascetic, cult-like figure who, as the slogan goes, Modi hai to mumkin hai. It made a difference, especially in Uttar Pradesh. Number 2, Yogi Adityanath has arrived on the national stage. People will say Yogi Adityanath is now a successor to Mr. Modi, number 2. I don't believe in any number 2s in politics. The fact is, in today's BJP, Mr. Modi is like Amitabh Bachchan was in Bollywood in the late 70s, number 1 to 10. So I don't think we should talk about Yogi Adityanath as number 2. What we should is that Yogi Adityanath, by creating a slice of history, the first chief minister to complete 5 years in UP and then get re-elected, has built a profile for himself, strong on law and order as he is projected, but also seen as a kind of Hindutva mascot for the BJP cadres and its core following in particular. And that means that he is now clearly a national figure who goes beyond just Uttar Pradesh. Number 3. Mahila Yojna is the new MY. Mahila and Yojna. The fact is, women voters have voted in large numbers for the BJP across states, especially in UP and Uttarakhand. And that is where the so-called Labharti schemes, the beneficiary schemes that seem to give women status, when you get a gas cylinder, when you get toilets, when you get a house under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojna, when you get free ration. All of this gives women a sense of, in some instances, empowerment, in some instances, a sense of status, and that has created a woman vote bank. So, women vote bank attached to Yojna, Mahila Yojna, rather than Muslim Yadav. This is the new vocabulary that one can talk about after this election. Factor number 4, and let me be direct here. There is a Hindu-Muslim divide that has only sharpened in the last decade. You can sense it when you're on the ground. People have a sense that there is a creeping divide that has only grown with time. Even law and order is expressed through, dare I say, to be politically incorrect, Muslim have been taught a lesson, Muslim criminals have been taught a lesson, or the so-called Muslim appeasement is something we are going to reject in this election. Sadly, when politicians resort to dog whistles, Abba Jan, Talibani mindset, bulldozer, all of this in a way invokes a subliminal anti-Muslim sentiment. So let's not get away from that. Hindu-Muslim divide is sadly, dare I say, deeper than ever before on the ground. Number 5, critical. Congress in serious decline. Let's be honest, the Congress needs to not just do band-aid after this election, it needs serious surgery. It has committed one self-goal after another. Self-goals, for example, making Harish Rawat, its popular leader of Uttarakhand, work in Punjab in the last year as General Secretary and simply mess it all up. Send Amrinder Singh packing in a rather dishonorable manner 4 months before the elections, appoint a relative non-entity like Charanjit Singh Channi, and then have Navjot Singh Sidhu as party president, a loose cannon undermining the chief minister virtually every day. The Congress knows how to press the self-destruct button rather well. Even a Priyanka Gandhi Vadra invested a lot of political capital in Uttar Pradesh when that same political capital could have been used in a Uttarakhand or a Goa, where the Congress had a real chance of victory. So clearly the Congress again losing out on sheer political strategy. And of course the big question, do people really want dynasty-led leadership? It comes with a lot of baggage. So that is point number 5. Number 6, the Aam Aadmi Party's rise means that the Aam Aadmi Party is now occupying the Congress space increasingly, positioning itself as an anti-establishment party, a party of the internet age, a party free of the baggage of the past, appealing on grounds of a health and education model, on providing basic services, of being more an effective opposition to the BJP, a more volunteer-driven opposition force, a party of hope and change. That's what Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party represent, and expect them over the next few years to make further inroads, especially where the contest has been traditionally between BJP and the Congress. Number 7, identity politics in this country needs a plus factor. For years we spoke about caste politics being the primary identity, especially in UP in the 1990s. No longer. In a way, Mandal is giving way, you could argue, to Kamandal, or indeed Mandir plus politics, as I call it, or Hindutva plus politics that the BJP now practices. Just look at the decline of Mayawati, just one seat to the once mighty Bahujan Samaj Party. Akhilesh Yadav also finding it difficult to move beyond the Muslim Yadav combined, largely also because he too carries the baggage of the past, being seen as a party associated, some would say, with political gundaism. Either way, whichever you look at it, social engineering based only on narrow caste identities is not enough. You need it, especially in the Hindi heartland, but you also need the plus factor, the ability to cater to the new aspirational voter who wants, well, dil mange more. That is critical. Number 8, BJP has redefined the rules of political competition in this country. You know, sometimes I liken the Modi-Shah combined to what Virat Kohli has done to Indian cricket. You can't play cricket for India today without being super fit and passing the yo-yo test. You have to be out there day after day battling it out. Similarly, Mr. Modi and Shah are relentless, remorseless, ruthless. Use whichever word you want. You finish one election, you're off to Gujarat for the very next. Strategizing all the time, micro level management, putting out all your ministers into every district. It's like an armada which goes out, a juggernaut, which has the resources of the state, which will do whatever it takes to win an election machine of the kind that we have not seen in contemporary India. So that is the other big takeaway. Number 9, the fact is that the opposition in general is fragmented. There is no unifying opposition narrative or leader at the moment who is attractive or credible enough as a pan-India leader. I saw it in Goa, where one of the reasons why the BJP has won is because the opposition vote was fragmented. They were all trying to compete in a way for the same space. But even nationally, how are you going to create a national alternative unless you're able to provide a credible alternative that grows, a credible narrative that goes beyond just anti-Modiism. You need a narrative of hope. Maybe the AAP has provided a little bit of it, because we saw it in Punjab that people gravitated towards the AAP because they thought that AAP represents perhaps a new kind of politics. But that too will be tested this time in Punjab. Number 10. 2024 appears to be a done deal for the BJP. I know this is controversial. I know the Prime Minister has alluded to it, suggesting pundits must not now acknowledge that BJP will win 2024. I have heard Prashant Kishore saying this is Prime Minister simply trying to create a psychological advantage over the competition. Yes, state elections are very different to a general election, but state elections usually end up foregrounding leadership. They become quasi-presidential. That's where at the moment there is Modi only, or the so-called Timo factor gives the BJP an advantage. But 2 years is a long time in politics. So you never know how things change. But as of today, it appears that a relatively demoralized opposition and the momentum being with the BJP gives them a clear advantage. So I say it's almost a done deal for the BJP. Finally, a postscript. Just 2 weeks ago in a column I had written saying clear lead for the BJP in UP. I had done a blog where I had spoken about change being in the air for Punjab. I was criticized by some who said I had jumped the gun and there was a fierce contest on. The truth is, my friends, those who criticize me, I think, live in their echo chambers where they are surrounded by like-minded voices. I believe true analysts, journalists must go to the ground, see for themselves with a clear mind and be willing to tell the story as objectively as possible. That's what I try in every election. I've tried it this time too. That's my straight bat video blog for this week. Hope you enjoy it. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Goodbye. Jai Hind. Namaskar.